Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om Ganana Antva Ganapatigam Avamahe, Kavin Kavinam Upavashravastramam, Jeshtarajam Brahmanan Brahmanastata, Anushvannoti Biseda Sadanam. Om Mahaganatipataye Namaha. Om Mahaganatipataye Namaha. We are coming to the 16th chapter of Sri Devi Bhagavatham, in which Veda Vyasa Maharishi is telling Janamejaya the story of Bhagavati. He was explaining, after gaining the victory in the battle, the king Yudhajit returned to the city of Ayodhya with his huge army and asked where are Sudarshana and Manorama. His stepbrother is Manorama, Sudarshana, and Manorama is his stepmother. He wanted to kill Sudarshana. That is his idea. He repeatedly exclaimed, "Where are they gone?" Sent his servants. On their search, then on auspicious day, he installed his daughter's son on the throne. Yadujit is the uh, Yadujit is the king of the Ujjaini, and his daughter Lilavati is the uh, queen of the Ayodhya. Yudhajit wanted his son-in-law to be his son-in-law to be the king. So that's how the big war happened. Gaining the victory in the battle, King Yudhajit returned to the city of Ayodhya with his huge army and asked where Sudarshana and Manorama. Sudarshana is the step Yudhajit's grandson, and Sudarshana is the stepson of his. Sudarshana is the first queen's son, and Yudhajit is the daughter has been married to the king of Ayodhya, and his second wife son Yudhajit, his daughter is a second wife of Ayodhya king. He repeatedly exclaimed, "Where is he gone?" Maharshi Vasishtha was engaged as the priest of the Ayodhya king. He and the other ministers began to chant the auspicious hymns of Atharvana Veda, and with jars filled with water and consecrated by these hymns, installed Shatrujit on the throne. Yudhajit's grandson is Satrujit, and because he won the war, Vasishtha Maharshi agreed to conduct the ceremony of ascending throne ceremony for Shatrujit on the throne. Oh, best of the crews, he is telling best of the crews for Janamejaya. Conch shells resounded, drums and bheris and turiyas resounded, and great festivals and rejoicings taken place in the Ayodhya city. The reciting of the Vedic mantras by the Brahmins, the chanting of the hymns by the Brahmins, and Veda scholars, and the auspicious acclamation of victory to the new king resounded the whole city of Ayodhya with a joy. When the new king Shatrujit ascended the throne in Ayodhya, the subjects were comfortable, but they were worried about the first wife and his son. Everywhere drums are sung, and Ayodhya looked as fresh as ever. O king, there were thus great rejoicing and festivals, and some good persons were found that remembered Sudarshanas and gave vent to this feeling of sorrow. Thus, alas, where was that prince gone? The people were talking, where Sudarshana, the prince, is gone. Where has that chaste queen Manorama gone with her son? Oh, the enemies have killed his father for greed of kingdom. The saints, with their views impartial, thus rendered uneasy, sorrow and sorry began to pass away their time, their subject to Shatrujit. After installing duly his daughter's son on the throne, and after having made over the charge of the kingdom to the wise counselors, the Yudhijit returned towards his own city. Afterwards, Yudhijit heard that Sudarshana was staying in the hermitage with the Bharadwaja Muni. He started at once for Chitrakuta and went quickly to Durdasar, the chief of the city of the Shrangivra, being accompanied by Bala, the chief of the Nishadas. Hearing that Yudhijit was coming there with his army, Manorama began to think that his son Sudarshana was a minor and became very sorrowful, distressed, and terrified. Then she, with tears in her eyes, addressed the Muni, Bharadwaja Muni, "Thus Yudhijit is coming here. What shall I do? And whither shall I go? Where shall I go? He has slain my father and has installed his daughter's son, Yudhijit, on the throne. Still, he is not satisfied, and he is now coming with his army here to kill my minor child. O Lord, in the days of in those good days, I heard that Pandavas, where they went to the forest, lived in the holy hermitage of the Munis with Draupadi. One day, the 5 brothers went hunting, and the beautiful Draupadi stayed without any fear with other maidservants in the hermitage, where there was the chanting of the Vedas by Jumna, Atri, Galava, Paila, and Javali, Gautama, Bhrigu, and Chavana, Kanva, and Atrigotra, Jatu, Kritu, Vithorta, Sumantu, Yajnadatta, Vatsala, Rasana, Koda, Yavakri, and Yajnakrita, Kritu, and other holy, highly souled rishis like Bharadwaja and others. While the 5 great heroes, Arjuna and others, the destroyers of their enemies, were roaming in the forest, Jayadratha, the king of Sindhu, came with his army to the hermitage. Hearing the reciting the Veda hymns, hearing thus that king quickly descended from the chariot so that he might have sight of these holy marshes. Accompanied by 2 attendants only, he approached to the Munis and finding them engaged in the study of the Vedas, waited there with folded hands for an opportunity. O Lord, when the king Jayadratha, on entering the hermitage, took his seat, the wives of the Munis came there to see the king and began to inquire, "Who is this person?" With the wives of the Munis came there also the beautiful Draupadi. Jayadratha looked upon Draupadi as if she were the second goddess Lakshmi. Looking at that lovely royal daughter who looked like a Deva girl, Jayadratha asked the Maharishi Dumya, "Who is this beautiful lotus-eyed lady? Whose wife is she? And who is her father? What is her name?" "Oh, from her beautiful appearance it seems that the goddess Sachi has come down to the earth. This fair woman is shining like the celestial lymph Ramba, surrounded by the Rakshases, or like the beautiful creeper Lavangalatika, enriched by thorny trees. O good ones, tell truly, whose beloved is she? O Brahmins, it seems that she is the wife of some king, not the wife of a Muni." Dimya said, "O king of Sindhu, she is the daughter of Panchala. Her name is Draupadi. She is the wife of the Pandavas. They are residing in this forest." Having got rid of their fears, Jayadratha said, "Where have those powerful Pandavas of great prowess gone now? Are they dwelling in the forest, free from fears?" Dimna said, "The 5 Pandavas have gone out on hunting, ascended on a chariot. They will return at noon with their game." Hearing the Muni's words, Jayadratha got up and going near to Draupadi, bowed down to her and said, "O fair one, is there anything well with you? Where have your husbands gone? Today it is 11 years that you are residing in the forest." Draupadi then said, "O prince, let all be well with you. Wait here for a short while. The Pandavas are coming quickly." While Draupadi thus spoke, that powerful king, being overpowered with greed and Kama stole her away, disregarding all the munis present there. O Lord, the wise should never trust anybody. If on anybody he places his trust, he will surely come to grief. For example, see the case of the king Bali. Bali, the son of the Virochana and the grandson of Prahalada, was prosperous, devoted to his religion, true to his promise, performer of sacrifice, generous, always giving protection to and liked by the saints, and a great warrior. His mind never turned to any irreligious matter, subject, and he performed 99 yajnas with full dakshinas, remuneration to the Brahmins. But the Bhagavan Vishnu, who is all full sattvika purity and who is never affected with the passions and challenges and changes, who is always worshipped by the yogis, he in the form of a dwarf, in the form of Vamana incarnation as the son of Kashyapa Rishi, to serve the Devas, stole away his whole sea-girt earth and kingdom deceitfully on hypocritical pretext. O Lord, I heard that the son of Virochana was a generous, large-hearted king. He truly resolved to give what was wanted, but Vishnu behaved with him deceitfully to serve the cause of Indra. When a pure Sattvika Vishnu could assume this dwarf incarnation to bring about the hindrance to the Bali's yajna, what wonder is that the other ordinary mortals would practice things like that. Therefore, never trust on anybody in any way. Lord, where there are greed and avarice reigning in one's heart, what fear can he have to perpetrate any evil deed? O Muni, it is through avarice that men commit sinful deeds. They do not care what good or bad will happen to them in the next world. Thoroughly overpowered by greed, they take away in mind, word, and deed other things, and thus they become fallen. Lot of human beings always worship the gods and for the wealth, but the devas do not give them wealth instantly. They give them these things through others by making them carry on trade, make gifts or shew their strength, or by making them steal. The Vaishyas worship the gods simply because they think they will be highly prosperous, and therefore they sell many things as grains, cloth, and the like. O controlled one, is there not desire to take away the other's property in this act of merchandise? Certainly there is, besides the merchants, when they find that when people are in urgent need of buying articles from them, expect that the price of those articles might run higher. O Muni, thus everyone is anxious to take away others' properties. How then can we trust them? Those who are clouded by greed and delusion, they're going to places of pilgrimage, they're making charities, they're reciting the Vedas, all are rendered useless. Though they go to the holy places, etc., still these things bear no fruits to them, as if they have not done these things at all. Therefore, enlightened one, you make Yudhijit to go back to his own place. Then I will be able to remain here, like Sita with my son. This is what Manorama, the wife of Ayodhya king who has been killed by Yudhijit, is telling Bharadwaja Muni in the ashrama. On Manorama's request, thus speaking to Bharadwaja Muni, the fiery Maharshi went to Yudhijit and said, O king, you better go back to your own place or anywhere else you like. The son of Manorama is a minor. The queen is very much grieved. She cannot come to you now. Yudhijit said, O peaceful ones, kindly cease showing this impudency and give me the Manorama. I will never go away leaving her. If you do not give her easily, I will take her away by force. That's what Yudhijit the king said. The Rishi said, O king, there be any strength in you, you can take away Manorama by force, but the result will be similar to that when the King Vishwamitra wanted to take away the heavenly cow by force from the hermitage of Vasishtha Maharshi. Thus ends the 16th chapter of the glory of Devi and the going of the king Yudhijit to the hermitage of Bharadwaja Muni to kill Sudarshana and his mother. That is in the third adhyaya of Sri Mad Devi Bhagavatham by Maharshi Veda Vyasa. So the next chapter is 17th chapter on the story of Vishwamitra. Vyasa Maharishi is telling the story, telling the Bhagavata, Devi Bhagavata to King Janamejaya. O King, hearing thus the words of Maharshi Bharadwaja and seeing that he made firm resolve, the king Yudhishthira called his prime minister quickly and asked, O intelligent one, what I am to do now? I want to carry away by force this boy with his mother, sweet Manorama. No one desirous of one's welfare won't trifle away his enemy, be he even a very weak one. If he does so, that enemy will get stronger day by day, as the disease consumption becomes stronger and will ultimately become the cause of the death. There is no warrior nor any soldiers here of the other party. No one will be able to resist me. I can take as I like the enemy of my daughter's son and kill him. I will try today to carry him away by force, and Sudarshana's being killed, my daughter's son will reign fearlessly without an enemy. There is no doubt in this. The Prime Minister said, no such hazardous courage need to be shown now. You have heard the Maharshi's word. He quoted you the example of Sri Vishwamitra. O King, in those days, Vishwamitra, the son of the king Gadi, has a celebrated monarch. One day, while roaming, he accidentally reached the hermitage of Vasishtha Maharishi. The powerful king Vishwamitra bowed down before the Muni, and the Muni gave him a seat. The king took his seat where Vasishtha Maharishi's ashrama. Then the high-souled Vasishtha Maharishi invited the king to a dinner. Vishwamitra, the king, went there with his whole army. There was a cow named Nandini, the daughter of Kamadhenu, of Vasishtha Maharishi. The Muni prepared all sorts of eatables from her milk and entertained them all. The king, with his whole army, was very much pleased, and coming to know of the divine power of the cow, asked Vasishtha Maharishi to give his cow Nandini over to him and said, the udder of your cow Nandini is like a big jar. I will give you 1,000 cows like that. I pray you to let me have your cow Nandini. Vasishtha Maharishi said to Vishwamitra, O king, this is my sacrificial cow. I cannot give you this cow in any way. Let your 1,000 cows be yours. Vishwamitra said, O saint, I will give you cows, lakhs or tens and hundreds or lakhs or any number you like. Please give me your cow. In the case you are unwilling, I will carry her away by force. So Vasishtha Maharishi said, O king, as you like, better take it by force. I will never be able to give you my cow Nandini from my house. O king, hearing thus the Vasishtha's words, Vishwamitra the king ordered at once his powerful followers and army to carry the cow Nandini away by fastening a cord around her neck for sheer force. The followers, obeying the order at once, bound the cow with ropes and began to carry her away by force. At this, Nandini trembled with tears in her eyes, began to say to the Muni, O one whose wealth consists only in asceticism, are you going to leave me? Otherwise, why these fellows are binding me with a cord and dragging me away? At this time, the Muni replied, O Nandini, I have never parted with you. I perform all my sacrifices through your milk. O auspicious one, I honor this king, my guest with eatables prepared from your food, and for that reason he is carrying you away from me by sheer force. What can I do? O Nandini, I have not the least desire to part with you. Hearing these words from Muni, the cow became very angry and bellowed loudly and terribly. At once came out of her body on that very spot the terrible demons wearing coats and armor and holding various weapons, and they uttered aloud, Wait, you will soon meet with vengeance. They then destroyed all the forces of the king of Vishwamitra, and the king alone was left, and he went away alone, much dejected with sorrow. So Nandini sent an army to fight with the army of Vishwamitra. Oh, that wicked king then cursed with a great humility the Kshatriya Shakti, and thinking the Brahminic power would be attained with great exertion, began to practice asceticism and penance. The Vishwamitra, the king, later he realized after the defeat of his army, through the army coming from Nandini, he think by making a Maharshi himself is better than the king. He performed tapasya very hard indeed. In the great forest, Vishwamitra, the son of Gadi, succeeded at least in becoming a rishi, and then he renounced his Kshatriya dharma. Therefore, O king, though never quarrel with these ascetics and be involved in wars resulting in great enmity and causing the extinction of the race. So that's what Bharadwaja Muni told this Yadujit king. Better you appease the Muni and now go back to your own kingdom. Let Sudarshana remain here at his pleasure, because he is not going to be a problem for Ayodhya. That's what Prime Minister said to the king. O king, this minor boy has no wealth. What harm can he do to you? It is useless to show your enmity towards an orphan, a weak minor boy. This world is under the control of the destiny. Therefore, one should show mercy to all. O king, what use is there to show one's jealousy? What is the inevitable will surely come to pass. O king, the thunderbolt comes sometimes like a blade of grass. A blade of grass acts sometimes like a thunderbolt. O king, you are very intelligent. Consider that by combinations of circumstances, a hare can kill a powerful tiger and a nut can kill an elephant. Therefore, therefore, you forsake this rashness and hear my beneficent advice. Vyasa Maharishi said to Janamejaya king, the best of kings, Yadujit, hearing the prime minister's advice, bowed down humbly at the feet of the Bharadwaja Muni and returned to his own city. Manorama too became free from anxiety and remaining peaceful in her hermitage, began to nourish and support her son engaged in wars. The lovely son of the king began to grow daily like the faces of the waxing moon and sport fearlessly with the boys of the Bharadwaja Muni's ashrama boys, altogether wherever they liked, a sight very auspicious. One day the minister Vidala came there, and the sons of Munis, seeing him, began in the presence of Sudarshana to address him Klib Klib. Sudarshana too, hearing them pronounce Klib Klib, took up the one letter Kli and uttered this only repeatedly, Kli Kli Kli. What actually happening? Klim is the letter of Bija Mantra of Mad Devi Bhagavatham. Navarana Mantra goes like this: Om, Aim, Hrim, Klim, Chamundaya Viche. This is the Navarana Mantra, and Klim is a part of it. So he started Klim, Klim, Klim. Then the son of the king took that mantra, Klim, and silently repeated in his mind, continuously repeating. O king, thus the boy Sudarshana was initiated in this root mantra of desire spontaneously out of his original samskara, innate tendency, owing to the unavoidable destiny of fate. The son of the king, when he was 5 years old, got this most excellent mantra, though without its rishi meditation, without its chanda meter, and without nyasa assignment of the various parts of the body to different deities, accompanied with prayers and corresponding gesticulations, and considered this as the quintessence of all. Therefore, mediated this always in his mind spontaneously and never forgot it. So, Sudarshana keep on repeating clean, 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 clean. When the king's son grew 11 years old, the Bharadwaja Muni performed his Upanayana, sacred ceremony, and made him begin the study of the Vedas. The son, with that mantra power, soon mastered all the studies about archery, all the moral and political sciences in conformity with the proper rules. Within a very short time, he became a clever. One day Sudarshana got a vision of the form of the supreme goddess Bhagavathi of a red color, wearing red apparel and decorated with red ornaments, mounting on Garuda and with her wonderful Vaishnavi powers, and her face fully opened like the budding of a lotus flower. Thus, expert in many branches of learning, Sudarshana served his mother in the forest and began to wander on the banks of the Ganga river. One day, the mother of the universe, that is Bhagavathi, gave the bows, sharpened arrows, quiver, and a mail coat of armor to the Sudarshana in the forest. So Mother Bhagavathi, because he was doing clean prayers, Mother Bhagavathi became very happy with his prayers, and she came in the forest to see him and given a big bow, sharpened arrows, and a quiver. Quiver is a cabinet for putting the arrows in the back of the shoulder, and a mail coat of armor to the boy in the forest. O king, at this time the extraordinary beautiful and lovely princess Sashikal, endowed with all auspicious qualities, the daughter of the king of Kashi, came to hear that a beautiful prince named Sudarshana, a second Kandarpa, full of heroism and endowed with all auspicious qualities, is dwelling in a forest. So the princess Sashikala is the Kashi king daughter. She came to hear that a beautiful prince named Sudarshana is the son of the king of Ayodhya, a second Kandarpa, full of heroism, endowed with all auspicious qualities, is dwelling in a forest in Bharadwaja Muni ashrama. The princess, hearing this from a sayer, mentally loved and desired him and wanted finally to accept him as her legal husband in future. Thus, on one occasion, at the end of the nightfall, the goddess Bhagavathi appeared in her dreams before her and consoled her and said, O fair one, ask a boon from me. Sudarshana is my devotee. He will fulfill at my word all your desires. So that's what assurance Bhagavati Devi gave to Sashikala, the daughter of the Kashi king. Thus, seeing the beautiful figure of the goddess in her dreams and hearing her sweet words, the honored Sashikala was drowned in the ocean of bliss. When the princess awoke, her face beaming with gladness, her mother perceived her joy and inferred that her daughter must have been internally very glad, and asked her repeatedly, but Shashikala was too much abashed and did not give vent to the cause of her satisfaction. The princess, remembering her dreams, began to laugh repeatedly on account of her excessive joy. At last, she spoke out in detail all about her dreams to one of her lady friends, companion in the yards of the palace in the Kashi. On one occasion, that large-eyed Sashikala went out for enjoyment to a nice garden beautifully with champaka flowers, attended by her companions. While the king's daughter seemed seated under a champaka tree, was collecting flowers, she saw a Brahmin coming towards in great haste. After bowing down before him, that beautiful princess, endowed with all auspicious qualifications, addressed him in sweet words, O blessed one, where are you coming from? The Brahmana said, O girl, I am coming on an errand from the hermitage of Bharadwaja Muni. Please mention what you are going to ask me. Shashikala replied, O noble one, what beautiful thing is there in the hermitage that is extraordinary and worth describing? The Brahmana said, O fair one, there is staying the most lovely Sudarshana, the son of the king of Dhruvasandhi. Dhruvasandhi is Ayodhya's king who died in the war. And Dhruvasandhi's second wife, son, is ruling the Ayodhya now. Sudarshana is the first wife Manorama's son. He is the loveliest of all men. The Brahmana who come to see Sashikala told him that Sudarshana, the son of the king Drosandi, a loveliest man, he is living in the ashrama. O fair one, he who has not seen him, I think, has his eyes given to him in vain. O auspicious one, it appears as if the Creator, with a view to see how it looks, has invested him with all the qualities. The Brahmin kept on telling, O beautiful one, what shall I say more to you? Suffice to say that the prince is fit to become your husband. I think that the Creator has no doubt settled already the union between you two as a happy union of two congenial things, gold in union with a jewel. So the Brahmin explained to the princess that Sudarshana is a right husband for her, and he is beautiful. He is beautiful. He is very handsome, and she is very beautiful, and they make a nice couple. Thus ends the 17th chapter of the story of Vishwamitra, and on getting the root mantra of Kama by the son of a king, Sri Mad Devi Bhagavatham of 18,000 shlokas by Maharshi Veda Vyasa. So the next chapter is the 18th chapter, swayamvara of Sashikala. The chapter 18th, Vyasa Maharishi said to the king Janamejaya, the king's lovely daughter was very glad on hearing the words of the Brahmana and drowned herself in ecstasy of love with Sudarshana. The Brahmin also departed, thinking the whole affair. The daughter was already attached to the prince, and now she became the more merged in love for him and became very anxious. Now, on the departure of the Brahmin, she felt herself struck by the arrows of love. Then Shashikala, oppressed by love, addressed her dear companion who followed her inclination thus, O my companion, I have not as yet had any knowledge of the king's son. Still the signs of love have sprung up in your mind and body. From the moment that I heard about him from the Brahmin, the love is giving me much trouble. Tell my companion, what am I to do now, and whither shall I go? The Saki, the oh dear companion, I saw him like a second god of love in my dreams. So this Sashikala is telling to the companion, that is Saki, oh dear companion, I saw him like a second god of love in my dreams, and since then my innocent mind is being troubled with his being away from me. O fair one, the sandal placed on my body appears to be me like a poison. This garland is like a serpent, and the moon rays seem like a fire. O Saki, my mind gets not rest anywhere, in palaces, gardens, in lakes, in hills, at any time, during the day or night. All the enjoyable things have assumed now contrary aspects and are paining me. The bedding, beetle leaves, music, singing, dancing, all now fail to give me satisfaction and peace. O Saki, I would have gone today. Where is residing that deceiver? But I fear of my father, as well as for the honor of my family. My father is not yet declaring the swayamvara of my marriage. What shall I do? Had he given me the marriage to Sudarshana, I would have allowed him, embrace me, and satisfy his passions today. Oh friend, look at the strange ideas of the Creator. There are hundreds of kings today who are influential, and I do not consider them beautiful. And that king's son is exiled from his kingdom in Bharadwaja Muni Ashrama, and yet he has stolen away my heart. The Vyasa Maharishi told the king Janamejaya. Thus that king's son Sudarshana, though helpless and living in a forest on roots and fruits in the ashrama, deprived of wealth, power, and army, began to reign in the heart of that princess. Shashikala too began to recite slowly the root mantra of Saraswati, and therefore her love towards this prince held out signs of success. Once engaged in meditation on that exact root mantra on kama desires, and while repeatedly reciting it mentally, he got a dream in the vision of that ever full the world of Mother Ambika, that's great Bhagavathi that cannot be expressed in words, the Vaishnavi Shakti, and capable to bestow her all wealth and prosperity for Sudarshana. At this time, the king of Nishada, the lord of Sringaverupura, came to the hermitage. This Nishada king is the Nishada king was the one who helped Rama before starting his Vanamasa. That Nishada king, his family, his grandson, the lord of Sringaverupura, came to the hermitage of, of and presented an excellent chariot, together with all other necessary things. This chariot was drawn by 4 horses, decorated with nice flags, and was endowed with the prospect of getting victory everywhere. Thinking it thus a befitting present to be given to the king, he gave it to Sudarshana. Sudarshana too accepted the offer of a friend and worshipped him well in return, with roots and fruits of the forest. The lord of Nishadas, thus worshipped as a guest, went away. The Munis, Bharadwaja Muni and ascetics then began to address Sudarshana with fondness. O son of the king, don't be anxious and restless. Within a very short time, you will get your kingdom, no doubt, by your own good luck and prowess. The Muni, Bharadwaja Muni said to Sudarshana, O one attached to one oath, the goddess that enchants the whole universe, the Bhagavati, the giver of boons, Sri Ambika, has been pleased with you. Assistance is also rendered well to you. Therefore, do not trouble yourself with contrary thoughts anymore. The Munis who have taken oaths addressed Manorama also. Your son will soon become the lord of the world, and he become the king of Ayodhya. You need not care anymore. Then the lean and then thin Manorama, hearing the Muni's words, said, O Brahmanas, let your blessings be justified with success. What wonder, what a kingdom be obtained by the goodwill of the sadhus. There is no force, there is no minister, no help, no property, no bow, no how one under what combinations can then my son can become a king. You are the best of the knowers of mantras. Due to the influence of your goodwill, my son will surely be a king. There is no doubt in this. Vyasa Maharishi said to Janamejaya, wherever the intelligent Sudarshana used to go on his chariot, there he seemed by his own prowess, as if he were surrounded by a whole army consisting of 109, 350 foot, 65,610 horses, 21,870 chariots, and the same number of 21,800 elephants. This is the influence of the seed mantra of Bhagavati. It is not an ordinary acquisition, it is because of Sudarshana with gladness and one pointedness of his mind meditated on his seed mantra, that's Bija mantra, that he acquired the above powers. There is no doubt in this. Becoming pure and peaceful, whoever gets this wonderful seed mantra, that is Navarana Mantra, Kleem, Om, Aim, Preem, Kleem, Chamundaya Viche. This is the Navarana Mantra, and this claim is a part of Navarana Mantra. There is no such thing either in the heavens above or in the worlds below that man won't get when the Supreme Goddess Bhagavati becomes pleased with him. These are the certainly very unfortunate and full dull intellect. Those who are certainly very unfortunate and of dull intellect, who cannot place their faith on the worship of this goddess Bhagavati, and consequently suffer incessantly all sorts of troubles. O best of the Kurus, at the beginning of the creation, this Ambadevi was the mother of all the gods, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. She is the mother of the Trimurtis and is therefore known as the first mother. She is practically seen in this world in the shape of buddhi, intelligence, in the name of kirti, fame, dhriti, fortitude, in the name of Lakshmi, goddess of wealth, in the name of Shakti, the force, in the name of shraddha, the faith, and bhakti, mati, intellect, smriti, memory, etc. It is only the deluded souls that do not realize the nature of the Devi. It is only those whose hearts are destroyed by the glare of false argument that do not worship this all auspicious goddess of the universe. O King, Brahma, Vishnu, Shambhu, Indra, Varuna, Yama, Vayu, Agni, Kubera, Vishwakarma, Pusha, Bhaga, the two Ashwini brothers, Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Vishwadevas, Maruts, all worship the supreme deity of creation, preservation, and dissolution. Bhagavati Ambika is the supreme deity of creation and preservation and dissolution. Later, Ambika grant the same power, creation to Brahma, preservation to Vishnu, and dissolution to Maheshwara. That's what Ambika, the Bhagavati, has given the power of creation, preservation, and dissolution to Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Who is there amongst who wise that does not serve this highest energy? The real nature of that auspicious goddess, the bestower of all desires, Sudarshana came to know very well. She is the real essence. Brahma very rarely realized. She is the higher Vidya and the lower Vidya, Avidya, and she is the vital energy, the Mukhya Prana of the best of the yogis who are desirous of liberation. O King, what individual is there that is able to realize the nature of Paramatma, the highest universal self, without having recourse to her, who is manifesting this universal consciousness by bringing into existence these Sattvika, Rajasika, and Tamasika creations? Sudarshana, through the dwelt in the forest, realized a greater happiness than that in the obtaining the sovereignty of a kingdom by constantly meditating on that goddess Bhagavati by the Bija mantra Kleem. Sashikala too, being too much oppressed with the arrows of love, anyhow remained with her soul in her body, having had to be always cared for her health in various ways by her attendants. Sakhis. Then the king Subhavu, that is Shashikala's father, the king of Kashi, on coming to know that her daughter is desirous of getting her husband, made arrangements for her swayamvara, a marriage in which the girl chooses her husband from among a number of kings are assembled together without any delay. The swayamvara of the royal family of king of Kashi, the Pandits say, is of three kinds. First is Ichcha, swayamvara is optional. Second is Panya, swayamvara by fulfilling a promise. Example, Ramachandra broke into the bow of Shiva and married Sita. Third, the swayamvara preferring one who will prove the strongest hero by one's own prowess. Of these three kinds of swayamvara, the king Subhavu preferred Ichcha swayamvara according to the bride's free choice. Accordingly, the king employed many artisans and had platforms covered with the beautiful carpets and big halls decorated beautifully in various ways in Kashi palace. Thus the assembly hall of Swayamvara built and decorated and all the necessary articles and equipments brought there all. The fair-eyed Sashikala told her companions with sorrow, better go to my mother and say her privately that I have already selected mentally my husband is the beautiful Sudarshana, the son of the king Dhruvasandhi in my mind. I won't marry any other prince than him. The goddess Bhagavati has settled him for her husband. So Vyasa Maharishi said, the companion of Sashikala hearing that went quickly to her mother with her bay and addressed her sweet in private. O chaste one, your daughter with a sorrowful heart has sent me to you to say the following. Please hear and do at your earliest convenience what is good and beneficial to your daughter, she said. There is staying in the hermitage Bharadwaja, the son of the king Dhruvasandhi. I have mentally selected him as my husband. I won't select any other prince. Vyasa Maharishi said, the queen, on hearing the Sakhi's words, told to her husband when he returned to the palace all her daughter's words as she had heard them. Hearing this, the king Subhavu of Kashi was astonished and then laughed frequently and then began to say to his wife, the daughter of the king of Vidarbha, the following true words. O fair one, that king's son Sudarshana is a minor. He has been exiled to the forest. Now he is helpless and is residing with his mother in the dense forest somewhere. For his sake, the king Virasena was slain in battle by the king Yudhijit. O fair lady, how can that helpless, exiled poor boy become her husband? To say, therefore, to Sashikala that in the assembly hall for her, swayamvara, many kings are commanding honor and respect would be present. She would then choose whomever she likes. She need not repeat such words anymore. Thus ends the 18th chapter of the third skandha about the swayamvara of Sashikala, the daughter of the king of Kashi Raja, Subhavu, Mahapuranam of Sri Mad Devi Bhagavatham, 18,000 verses by Maharishi Veda Vyasa. Now we came to the 19th chapter. On going of Swayamvara assembly of Sudarshana, Vyasa Maharishi said, after the king Subhavu had spoken thus, the queen made her daughter Sashikala, who had always sweet smiles on her lips, sit on her lap, and after consoling her with sweet words, began to say, O fair eyelid mother, you always practice vows and other religious performances. Why are you then speaking these unpleasant words? The king has heard all what you wanted to say and has been very sorry. Sudarshana is very unfortunate, deprived of his kingdom, helpless, void of wealth and army, abandoned by his friends, exiled with his mother in the forest, subsisting on roots and fruits, lean and thin. Thus, he is not worthy of becoming the husband of mine. There are many learned, beautiful, approved, of all qualified with all royal marks, princes fit to become your husband. They all will come in this Swayamvara. There is one brother of the Sudarshana who is endowed with all kings' qualifications, beautiful and qualified in various other ways. He is the king of Kosala County now, Ayodhya king. There is another point with consideration. Please hear it. The king Yudhijit is trying his best to kill Sudarshana on befitting opportunity. He already consoled with his ministers and killed in a desperate fight the king Virasena and installed his daughter's son as the king in the Ayodhya. Even he came up so far as the hermitage of Bharadwaja to kill Sudarshana. Afterwards, he was prevented by the Munis and Prime Minister of his own Prime Minister from doing so. Then he returned home. Shashikala replied, Mother, that prince, though staying in the forest, is approved by me under the advice of, of the Bhagavathi, the chaste Sukanya, married Chavana Maharushi and served her husband all along. So I marry this king's son and will always be engaged in serving him. The women are able to attain heaven and emancipation if they serve their husbands. Therefore, if we be sincere in serving our husbands, we will no doubt be happy. I have seen in my dream that the goddess Bhagavathi has ordained him to be my husband. How can I now accept any other body as my husband than him? The Devi Bhuvaneshwari has pictured his frame firmly in my heart. I will never be able to leave my dearest beautiful husband and to contract marriage with another person. Vyasa Maharishi said, thus the mother, the daughter of the king of Vaidehi, found many signs and at last desisted. She then reported to the king all the words Sashikala said to her. When Sashikala, on the day before the marriage day, became very anxious and sent in a great hurry one trustworthy Brahmin, versed in the Vedas, to the hermitage of Bharadwaja with this message, O Brahmin, go in such a way to Sudarshanas as my father be not be able to know about it, and tell Sudarshanas all my words. So Shashikala is sending the Brahmin towards towards the Bharadwaja Muni ashrama. My father has called in for my marriage, a swayamvara ceremony. Many powerful kings will attend with their armies. O Deva, the goddess Bhagavathi has ordered me in the dream, and accordingly I, with full gladness of my heart, have become yours already in my heart. Rather, I will take a poison or I will jump into blazing fire than I can obey my father's orders and mother's words and marry somebody else. By my mind, word, and deed, I have selected you as my husband, and pleasure and happiness is sure to attend on us by the blessings of the Bhagavati Bhuvaneshwari. Please depend unto her at whose command this whole universe moving and unmoving is resting unto that great destiny, and come to this place without any fail. What the goddess whose commands Shankara, all the other devas obey, has order can never turn out false. O Brahmin, you, the foremost amongst the virtuous, do therefore call on the king's sons in privacy, and speak out all there to him. What shall I say more to you? Do all that my object may be fulfilled. Thus saying, as she gave the Brahmin his dakshina and sent him to Sudarshana's ashrama, he went and there reported all the matter duly to him and quickly returned back. On coming to know all this, Sudarshana was determined to start, and the Maharshi Bharadwaja Muni with gladness sent him. Vyasa Maharishi said, seeing her son ready to start, the mother Manorama became very sorry, and trembling and shedding tears, thus spoke to her son. Sudarshana, where are you going now? How do you dare to go there in the swayamvara alone, where are present kings and all their terrible enemies? O son, you are as yet a boy. The king Yudhijit will certainly go there with the object of killing you. There is no other buddy to help you. So you should never go to that place. Manorama, the mother of Sudarshana, was worried. And Sudarshana is telling, mother is telling, you are the only son. I am very poor and helpless. I have no other to lean upon than you. Therefore, you ought not to throw me in the despair at this moment. See, Sudarshana, the king Yudhijit who had slain my father, that uncontrollable king will come there. If you go there alone, he will certainly try to kill you. Sudarshana replied, Mother, what is inevitable will certainly come to pass. There is no need to discuss further on the subject. I will go to the command of the world mother, that is Bhagavati, to that assembly hall of Swayamvara. O auspicious one, do not give vent to sorrow. I do fear none by the grace of the Bhagavati. Vyasa Maharishi said, thus saying, Sudarshana mounted on his chariot and was ready to start. Seeing this, Manora began to bless him and so cheer him. O son, let Ambika Devi protect you from front, Padmalochana protect you from back, Parvati your two sides, Shivadevi all around you, Varahi in dreadful paths, Durga in royal force, Kalika in terrible fight, Parameshwari in the platform hall, Matangi in the Swayamvara hall, Bhavani the avertress of world, amidst the kings, Girija in mountain passes, Chamunda in the sacrificial ground, and let the eternal Kamaga protect you in the forest. O descendant of Raghu family, let the Vaishnavi force protect you in quarrels. Let Bhairavi protect you in the battles and amongst your enemies. O son, let the Mahamaya, Jagadatri Bhuvaneshwari protect you everywhere and at all times. Vyasa Maharshi said, then Manorama speaking thus to him trembled with fear and again said, O Sudarshana, I will also accompany you. There will not be otherwise. I will never be able to remain anywhere without you, and even for the twinkling of an eye. O son, carry me, Titler, carry me in your chariot, where you are daring to go. Thus saying, his mother Manorama, with her attendants, was ready to start. The Brahmanas pronounced their blessings. All then went out. Sudarshana, the descendant of the Raghu dynasty of Ayodhya, mounted then alone on his chariot and reached Benares. There the king Subhavu, hearing that he had come, welcomed him and worshipped him with various presents. He gave him the house for his residence and made arrangements for his food and drink and other necessary requirements as a guest in his chamber, and gave order to his servants to wait along with the prince. Then from various quarters the kings assembled together, and Yudhajit too came there accompanied by his daughter's son Shatrujit, the king of Karusha, the king of Madra, the king of Sindhu, the king of Mahishmati, the valiant warriors, the king of Panchala, the kings of mountainous tract, the king of Karnat, the powerful king of Kamarupa, the king of Chola, and the very powerful king of Vidarbhas, with 180 Akshayani soldiers, all arrived and assembled there in the Benares. Benares was then crowded all with over the soldiers and soldiers. Many other kings came there on their beautiful elephants to witness the swayamvara ceremony. Then the princes began to talk amongst them. The king's son Sudarshana too had come there and is staying unconfused and calm. Is it that the high-minded Sudarshana, born of the Kukshuta family, had come there on a chariot, helpless to marry? Can it be that princes will overlook these kings with soldiers and weapons and select the long-armed Sudarshana? Then the king Yudhajit addressed all other kings. I will slay Sudarshana for the sake of the daughter. There is no doubt in this. Hearing Yudhajit's words, the king of Kerala, the foremost of those who know morals, began to say, O king, in this Ichha Swayamvara, it is not proper to fight. Here there will be no marriage for the prowess. There is no arrangement fixed to steal away the bride, elect by force. Here the bride will select of her own free choice. What cause can there be crop up here for quarrels? Before you had driven him out of his kingdom, and though you are the superior king, you have taken his kingdom by force and installed your daughter's son on the throne in Ayodhya. O king, this Sudarshana is born of the Kukusta family and the son of the king of Koshala. Why would you kill this innocent boy? Long lived, better be sure that there is some God of the universe and he is governing all of us. And if you commit anything wrongful, know that you will get the fruit of that due to you. There is no doubt about this. O king, there is a victory everywhere of the truth and dharma. Always you find adharma and falsehood defeated. Therefore, don't you forsake your evil and mean intentions and pacify your evil mind. Your daughter's son is also present here. He is a beautiful and prosperous and regaining the kingdom. Why will not that bride elect your son as a bridegroom? Consider again that there are many other powerful princes and kings in this Swayamvara. The princes may select them also. Therefore, let all the kings assembled here say that if the selection of the bridegroom be performed in that way, what cause of a quarrel can crop up? Knowing all this, you ought not to quarrel here. Thus ends the 19th chapter on the going to the Swayamvara assembly of Sudarshana and other kings in the Mahapurana Sri Mad Devi Bhagavatham of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Veda Vyasa. Now we come into chapter 20 on the Swayamvara hall and the king's conversation there. Vyasa Maharishi said, O noble-minded one, the king of Yudhajit replied to the address of the king of the Kerala. Thus, O king, you are the truthful and have restrained your passions. What you have told just now in this assembly of kings is all correct and approved by morality. O best of the kings, you are born of a high family, and you better say how can this take place, that when so many fit persons are present here to become the bridegroom, can any unworthy person take away the offer? As a jackal never becomes a fit to enjoy what are the dues of a lion, so this Sudarshana is also unfit to acquire this bride elect. You may think like that. The Brahmanas have the Vedas as their strength. The Kshatriya kings take bows and arrows to be their source of strength. This is ordained everywhere. Therefore, O king, what wrong have I done in my statement? Kindly explains. The power of the kings is the befitting a money given to the parents of bride. According to this, the strongest man is to acquire the bride, a jewel. The Kshatriyas that are weak can never acquire that. Make this the rule in this marriage. This earth is fit to be enjoyed by the heroes only and not by the cowards and intriguing persons. Otherwise, quarrels are sure to ensue amongst the kings. The dispute thus arose in the swayamvara hall, and the king Subhavu was called in. The kings that could see the reality of things then addressed the king Subhavu. O king, you are requested to establish a golden rule in this marriage ceremony. What is your object in calling this swayamvara? Better give it out after a mature consideration. Please be explicit. Whom have you intended to give over your daughter in this marriage? Subhahu said, my daughter has mentally selected Sudarshana. I prevented her repeatedly from doing this, but she did not accept my word. What shall I do now? The mind of my daughter now is not at all her will. Sudarshana, too, though uninvited, has come here singly and is residing calmly, without any signs of disturbance in his mind. Vyasa Maharishi said, then the chief kings all invited Sudarshana there. Sudarshana too came there quietly, and the princess, seeing his quiet nature, asked him, O one engaged in the practicing oaths, who has invited you here? Why have you come here singly in this assembly of kings? You have no force, you have no ministers, no help, no wealth, and no army. O intelligent, then explain why have you come here alone? In this assembly of kings, you see that the powerful monarchs are already present, ready to fight with each other for the sake of this princess. What do you intend to do under these circumstances? Your brother, too, is come here to have the princess. He has got his army and is all marked with his strength and valor. The powerful Idujit has come here also to help him. O observer of good woes, seeing you without any army, we have narrated to you all the facts. Now think and do accordingly. If you please, remain here or go anywhere else. So that was the other king's advice. Sudarshana replied. He replied, true, I have no army, I have no help, I have no health, I have no wealth, I have no fruits, I have no friends, or no kings to protect me. Hearing that swayamvara will be held here, I have come here to witness it. But there is one particularity here. It is this: the Devi Bhagavathi has ordered me in my dream to come here to attend the swayamvara. Under her command, I have come here. There is no doubt in this. I have got no other object in view. I have obeyed what the Bhagavati Bhuvaneshwari has ordered me to do. Today will happen. No doubt that she has ordained. Whatever the Bhagavati has ordained, that will happen. O kings, I am seeing everywhere the supreme goddess Bhagavati Bhavani. Therefore, there is no enemy of mine in this world. I don't have an enemy. But he who will turn out an enemy of mine will be duly punished by the Mahavidya, Mahamaya, Bhagavati, Bhuvaneshwari. I do not know what enmity is because I don't have any enemies. Nobody is my enemy. Everybody is known to me. O kings, what is inevitable will surely has to happen. There will be nothing otherwise. I am always depending on fate, destiny. What is the use then in thinking what will be the result? Everywhere in devas, in the spirits, in men, in all the beings, the Devi's power is existent. It cannot be otherwise. O kings, whenever she wishes, she makes kings, masters of the wealth, and devoid of the wealth. What is then the use of bothering my head like this? When even the gods Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, without her presence, became powerless enough to move in their hands or feet, then why shall I be anxious for the result? O kings, whether I am unable to or able to or an ordinary person, You have nothing to consider. I have come here in the assembly of hall of Swayamvara under the command of Supreme Bhagavathi only. What she has willed, she will do that. I am not to care for anybody. O high-minded ones, you need not be afraid at all in this matter. I have told you all the truth, victory or defeat. I feel no shame. In either of them, I will accept. Whatever the Bhagavati's blessings, I will accept. For I am always under the control of Bhagavati. Therefore, if there be any shame here, it's all hers. Vyasa Maharishi said, hearing this, his words, and seeing that his mind is firmly devoted to Bhagavati, the kings saw each other and said that, O Sudarshana, what you have said is quite true. It is never otherwise. Still, Yudhijit, the king of Ujjaini, is intent on killing you. O intelligent, O sinless, we have all come to know that there is no trace of evil in you. Why, we were all overcome with pity for you. Hence, we have informed you. Now think and do the needful. Sudarshana said, you are all kind and large-hearted. What you all have said is quite true. What shall I tell you, being a minor asset? O kings, no one can cause the death of another. All this world, moving and unmoving, is under the control of the Bhagavati Mahamaya. No soul is independent. Everyone is under the effects of one's own karma. The Pandits that have realized the truth say that the karma is of three kinds: accumulated karma, present karma, and prarabdha karma. This whole world is due to time, kala, karma, action, and swabhava, nature. Unless the proper time comes, even the devas cannot kill men. The men are killed on account of some cause, immediate, but the great time is the real destroyer. My father, though a destroyer of many others, was himself killed by a lion, and my mother's father was slain by Yudhijit in the battle. The Jivas, though caring hard to preserve their lives, are killed by fate in spite of all their cares, and they have lived thousands of years, though there is none to protect them. O religious king, O religious kings, I do not fear a bit from Yudhijit. I consider he is not my enemy. I consider fate as the supreme, and Bhagavati Bhuvaneshwari is the supreme, and I therefore remain always undisturbed, calm, and quiet. Daily and constantly I remember Bhagavati, who is the mother of all the universe. She will look after me welfare. She will look after my welfare. Behold, one will have certainly to bear the burden of one's past karma, whether it be good or to be bad. One's own actions must bear their fruits. Then why shall he be sorry? Who has come to know this? The less intelligent, deluded persons, on getting pain from their own actions, turn out enemies on very trifling matters. I do not grieve, nor do I fear on account of such enemies. I am staying here in this assembly of kings, cool-minded and quiet and relaxed. Under the order of Chandika, the Bhagavati, I am come here to see to attend the Swayamvara. Whatever is inevitable will surely come to happen. The words of Bhagavati are the best proof for me. I do not know any other. My mind is entirely given up to my Bhagavati Bhuvaneshwari. There will be nothing otherwise than what she has ordained, whether it is good or whether it is bad. O kings, let Yudhijit remain in a peace. I have no enmity with him. He is my brother. He who will deal inimicably with me will certainly reap his reward. There is not the least doubt in this. Vyasa Maharishi said, O king, when Sudarshana addressed them, all the other kings who came to the Swayamvara like that, all the kings became very glad and they all remained there for the Swayamvara. Sudarshana too went to his camp and remained also calm and quiet. The next day, the king Subhavu invited all the kings present in his city to their respective seats in the Swayamvara hall. The princes and kings decorated with best ornaments came and took their seats on their respective platforms, covered with valuable carpets of best workmanship. The kings then looked like the celestial devas. wearing divine ornaments and apparels, blazing with this lustrous light of gems, and remained to see the swayamvara affair. Everyone there had this foremost thought in their mind: when will this princess, the bride elect, would come here? And who will be the man so fortunate as to be blessed with garlands offered by her as a token of selection of the bridegroom? If accidentally she offers garland to Sudarshana in this Swayamvara assembly, then will ensure no doubt desperate struggles among the kings. While they were thus meditating, sounds of drums were loudly sounded. Then Subhavu, the king of Benares, went to her daughter and found that Sashikal had just taken her bath and put on her silken clothes and adorned herself with various ornaments and sweet garlands. Thus dressed in complete marriage dress, she began to shine like another goddess Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth. The king, on seeing his daughter dressed in silken cloth, afflicted with anxious thoughts, just smiled and said, "Child, rise and take the beautiful garlands by your hands and go to the Swayamvara hall and just look at the assembly kings. O lean-bodied one, whoever well-qualified, beautiful, noble birth amongst the kings is reigning in your mind, better select him. O graceful, the kings from various quarters are adorning their respective seats, better go and see and select whomever you like." Vyasa Maharishi said, when Subhavu had spoken that, Sashikal, who generally talked little, replied with sweet, generous, sonorous words, impregnated with religious truth: "Father, I won't go before the other kings who are inspired by lust. Women like me never go to there. It is those that are dissolute that attend those places. Father, I have heard from the religious text that women should cast their glances on their husbands only and not on any other. The woman that goes to many persons is mentally claimed by all, each of them contemplates strongly, let this woman be mine. Thus her chastity is destroyed." So the Subhavu's daughter is telling, by going to see in the Swayamvara other kings, she has to see the other kings, that will destroy her chastity. Pativrat destroyed. Desirous of selecting her husband, when the woman holding in her hands the garland of her would-be husband goes to the Swayamvara hall, then she turns out like an ordinary unchaste woman. As a, as a prostitute going to a public shop looks on many persons and judges of their merits and demerits according to her own power of judgment, the maid that goes in the Swayamvara hall does exactly the same. So she was opposite. How can I behave myself in the hall of the assembly of kings like a ordinary woman who does not attach her feelings firmly on a single individual but glances constantly at many lustful persons? Though this system of swayamvara is approved by the elderly persons, I am not going to follow that now. I will take the vow of a chaste woman, pativrata datnari, and act up to the doctrine as perfectly. I will never be able to act like an ordinary woman going in the Swayamvara hall. I mentally determining many and finally selecting one. Father, from the very beginning, I have given myself up to Sudarshanas in mind, word, and deed. I have not least the inclination to leave him and select another in his deed. Instead, O King, if you want to have my welfare, then give your daughter me on an auspicious day and in an auspicious lagna to Sudarshana according to the prescribed rites. Thus ends the 20th chapter in the Swayamvara hall and king's conversation there in the Sri Mad Devi Bhagavatham of 18,000 shlokas of Maharishi Veda Vyasa. Thus ends the 20 chapters. We are going to 21st chapter in the next session. Om Om Haim Reem Kleem Chamundaya Viche. Om Haim Reem Kleem Chamundaya Viche. Om Haim Reem Kleem Chamundaya Viche. Amba Parameshwari Akhilandeshwari Adi Parashakti Palayama Adi Parashakti Palayama आदिपराशक्ति पालय मां अम्ब परमेश्वरी अखिलांडेश आदिपराशक्ति पालय मां। ओम नमोस्तु अनंताय सहस्रमूर्तये सहस्रपादाक्षर सहस्रनाम्ने पुरुषाश्वते सहस्रकोटियुगधारिणे नमः सहस्रकोटियुगधारिणे नमः। आकाशात् परितं मेधागित्सागरं सर्वदेव नमस्कारः। श्रीकेशवं प्रगत्यो नमः। सर्ववेदेषु यत्पुण्यं सर्वतीर्थेषु यत्फलं तत्फलं पुण्यमाप्तवासनात् वासुदेवस्य वासन्ते जगत्त्रयं सर्वभूतनिवासोऽसि वासुमृते कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा हृदय स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि नारायणायेति समर्पयामि नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। हरि ओम तत्सत्। ओम शंभवे नमः विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यंबकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकंठाय मृत्युंजयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय शंभवे ओम ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुण्डाय विच्चे ओम ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुण्डाय ओम ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुण्डाय विच्चे।